Inflation in the United States has hit 4-decade high. Lower-income households face the worst of the crisis.
In May, inflation hit 8.6%, the highest in 40 years.
Venezuela are now worth next to nothing due to the sky-high levels of inflation.
Venezuela, of course, a country where prices double every few weeks.
1923 was disastrous for Germany. In that year, the great German inflation reached its peak. To meet this crisis and pay the strikers in the Ruhr, the government simply printed more money. Millions, whatever figure was printed on the notes, really meant nothing. The German mark was worthless.
If the same amount of goods existed in the economy, but there was twice as much money, then we would think that the price of everything would double.
The infusion of cash into the financial system has renewed concerns that inflation could surge.
Simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did.
Hi everybody, we all know that printing money is very unhealthy for an economy, and every time a country has attempted to print money, it has led to disastrous consequences. For example, in the 1920s, the Weimar government printed over 500 billion paper marks, and in just 3 years, inflation rate in Germany got so bad that at its worst, it took 4.2 trillion paper marks just to buy $1. Similarly, when Venezuela printed 4 trillion bolivars, by 2020, their inflation rate reached over 4,200%. And guess what? In 2020, the United States of America printed $3 trillion in just 3.5 months. But guess what? Strangely, while in other cases of currency printing, those countries experienced hyperinflation, in case of US, inflation barely touched 9%. In fact, this had a reverse effect whereby instead of inflation increasing just in the US, inflation actually got exported to other countries all across the world. Which means, although US printed $3 trillion, inflation actually increased in other countries instead of just the US. In fact, the inflation that you're experiencing in India right now is also partly due to the money printing that happened in the US in 2020. And this is due to the secret superpower of the US dollar. And if you only understand this dollar superpower properly, you'll be able to understand a critical concept of US economy and world trade itself. So in this episode today, let's try to understand how is US economy immune to money printing, how did US printing money cause inflation in India and other countries, and most importantly, what are the study materials to help you understand this insane economics of world trade better. But before we move on, I want to quickly thank our partners of this episode, and that is Coding Invaders. People, the international markets have been free falling in the past few weeks. In conditions like these, there is a very high possibility for a job crisis. And that's where Coding Invaders come in. Coding Invaders help you switch from non-IT profession to IT profession for high-paying jobs within 6 to 8 months as a data analyst. Their current placement stat stands at 93%. And the best part is that before you enroll for the course, they provide you with a job guaranteed agreement with a money back guarantee. So basically, if you do not get placed, you will get a 100% refund from Coding Invaders. Their courses have real-world business case studies, job-oriented projects and assignments which are designed by industry experts from great companies like Amazon, Philips, Deloitte and others. In fact, even a civil engineer like me with a non-IT background will be able to learn data science and be eligible for a high-paying IT job such as a data analyst. Coding Invaders have helped 20,000 plus candidates secure 10 to 25 LPA packages in the past 6.5 months with the help of their 300 plus hiring partners. So this year, you can choose to invest in yourself rather than the markets. If this sounds helpful to you, use the link in the description and use the code TS27 to get a 27% discount on their job guarantee badge. To understand the money printing superpower of the US, you first need to understand something called quantitative easing. Now again, this might sound very complex, so as usual, let's try to understand this using a simple story. You see guys, just like we learned from our RBI episode, RBI lends money to HDFC which then gets lent to people like you and me. And just like that, in the US, the Federal Reserve lends money to the Bank of America which then lends money to people like you and me. So let's say the interest rate that the Feds charge the Bank of America is 6.15%. Then what will Bank of America do? Bank of America will lend this money to a Mr. Jackson at 8.15% interest and make a 2% profit. So let's say Bank of America gave a loan of $300,000 to Mr. Jackson at 8.15% interest. Now, when inflation spikes, if the Federal Reserve raises the interest rate from 6.15 to 6.25%, so even Bank of America will have to increase the home loan interest from 8.15 to 8.25% to make a profit. And if you look at the impact of this change in interest rate on loans, it's very, very significant. To give you an example of the same, let's say Mr. Jackson has taken out a home loan of $300,000 on a 20-year tenure and makes $8,000 per month. So if the interest rate goes from 7% in April 2022 to 9.25% in January 2023, the EMI would go up from $2,326 to around $2,748 to repay the exact same loan within the original tenure. And this is an EMI increase of 18%. So let's say Mr. Jackson's effective savings at the end of all expenses is about $1,500. But now, after the increase in interest rates, when Mr. Jackson pays $422 extra in his EMIs, Mr. Jackson would only have $1,078 to spend. And in total for the entire year, his purchase power will decrease by $422 into 12 months, that is by $5,064. So as you can imagine, when the Jackson family has $5,064 less in their budget for the month, in order to make up for this extra cost, the Jackson family will cut down on car purchases, they will cut down on outings, and they will cut down on all luxury purchases. Similarly, when home loan interests are increased all across America, millions of Americans will buy less cars, spend less on clothes, and spend less on vacations. So this way the demand of products will go down. Eventually, the businesses will have to decrease their products to make it affordable for their customers. So if a car costs $200,000, thousands of people like Mr. Jackson will not even consider buying a car because they can only afford to buy a car at $160,000, and that too with a car loan. So if Volkswagen was selling a car in the US for $200,000, they will have to decrease the price to $160,000 so that more people could afford the car. But at the same time, the problem with Volkswagen is that even their costs of production have gone up. Semiconductor shortages have made semiconductors more costly, gas prices have increased due to the Russia-Ukraine war, and shipping costs have also shot up. So the cost of production has increased so much that they just cannot afford to sell the car at below $165,000. So you see, this is where the economy of US got stuck. The buyers do not have money to buy products at more than $160,000, and the sellers cannot decrease their price beyond $165,000 because the cost of production has increased. So in the market, if the buyers don't buy and the sellers can't sell, it's basically an economic nightmare because there is no money flowing into the market. And this is what recession looks like. Now the question over here is, what can the Federal Reserve do to fix this problem? Well, this is where we have something called quantitative easing. In simple words, quantitative easing is a method whereby the US Federal Reserve lowers the interest rates and creates dollars in the economy to get the market working. Now this might sound complex, so let's try to understand this using a story. So just like Federal Reserve lent money to Bank of America, now they would print $100 billion and buy a bond from Bank of America worth $100 billion. So Bank of America gets $100 billion from the Federal Reserve at a dirt cheap interest of just 0.1%. So now, just like Bank of America increased the interest rate from 7 to 9.25% for people like Mr. Jackson, now they would decrease the interest rate for Mr. Jackson from 9.25% to just 4%. Why? Because now they are still able to make a 2% profit and they have a ton of money to lend to the people of America. And in our real world, if you see this graph, the Feds had a pretty stable interest rate swinging between 1.5 to 2.5% until 2020. But suddenly in 2020, after COVID happened and the economy was in a standstill, they printed money and the interest rates fell to as low as 0.05%. As a result, even the banks lowered the interest rates. This is the effect of $3 trillion of money printing in the US. So now let's come back to our story and see the impact of this money printing in the US and the world economy. Now you see, after the banks lowered the interest rate, Mr. Jackson's home loan EMI would drop from $2,748 to $1,818. As a result, his savings will increase by $930 per month and by $11,160 for the entire year. Which means, just like Mr. Jackson, when millions of people see their savings increase by a large extent, their purchase power increases, by which they can easily apply for a car loan to buy a car. So now the demand for the Volkswagen car increases so much that now even if VW sells the car at $205,000, people are still willing to buy it. Which is why to seize this opportunity, VW would further increase the price to $220,000 because there is very, very high demand. So you see, this is how through quantitative easing, the supply of dollars in the US economy increases. This increases the purchase power of people like Mr. Jackson. And when millions of people see their purchase power increase, it increases the demand of product. Eventually, it increases the cost of goods in the US. Now the question over here is, in this story, the Federal Reserve printing money has increased the inflation in the US, right? Then why are we blaming the US for increasing inflation in other countries? Well, guess what? This is where the dark truth of US printing dollars and the side effects of quantitative easing come in. So again, let's try to understand how does quantitative easing in the US increase inflation in other countries using a story. Now, like we saw in our example, when people like Mr. Jackson saw their home loan EMI drop and started to buy more and more vehicles, VW, which is a German company, could increase the price of the car from $200,000 to $220,000. But at the same time in Germany, they are selling the same car at 200,000 euros. Now we are taking €1 to be $1 so that the calculations are simplified, alright? So coming back to our story, VW can sell the same car in the US for $220,000 and can sell it in Germany for only 200,000 euros, which is equal to $200,000. Now if you see, they are losing out on $20,000 profit margin per car, right? So guess what? VW will start shipping more and more cars to US in order to meet the rising demand in the US. Why? Because VW is getting better profit margins with the American customers than the German customers. Now mind you people, this story is assuming that the import duty on cars for US is very less or a free trade agreement exists between these two countries. And this product that we're talking about, here we're taking car because it's a relatable example, but this could be used for any product like tomatoes or even mangoes. So coming back to our story, as more and more cars get shipped to US, VW will increase the cost in Germany to 220,000 euros, which is $220,000. So indirectly, VW is telling the Germans that if they can buy the car at 220,000 euros, that's great. If not, then VW can anyway ship it to the US. So this is the first way by which the US printing money increases the demand for imported goods, which increases the price of imported goods, and that eventually increases the price of the same goods in their domestic markets. And when this happens for multiple goods and services all across the market, inflation occurs in other nations and not just in the US. So if this is very, very clear to you, let's look at the second reason as to how US printing money results into currency depreciation, which again results into inflation. And this is something that you must have seen in the news a dozen times after US printed money in 2020.
The infusion of cash into the financial system has renewed concerns that inflation could surge.
The United States printed 35% of all the currency it has ever made in the history of the United States in 2020.
It is an absolutely historic week, both in terms of the speed of Fed purchases and, of course, the magnitude.
Trillions of dollars of economic stimulus affect the outlook for inflation. Central banks around the world have injected money into the economy at a record pace to try to fight a global recession.
The big concern is that not only will we have these big increases in inflation this year, but that will lead people to expect higher increases in the future.
So as usual, let's try to understand this using the same Volkswagen story. You see, when Volkswagen wants to sell its car in the US at $220,000, this is how the transaction will be carried out. There will be a VW German branch, there'll be a Deutsche Bank which will be dealing with the German branch of VW, then there'll be an American bank, and then there'll be the American branch of VW. So when VW US wants to import 100 VW cars from Germany, they will have to buy euros in order to make this purchase. But just like VW US, even BMW US and Mercedes US branch would want to buy euros in order to import their European models to US, right? And this is where, ladies and gentlemen, the currency game will start. When a VW representative, a Mercedes representative and a BMW representative, all of them want to buy euros, then the demand for euro will increase. So now Deutsche Bank will take advantage of this and they will increase the price of euro. So if 1 euro was selling for $1, Deutsche Bank will sell the same 1 euro at $1.03. But VW will not mind paying 3% extra because they're getting a 10% extra margin by selling cars in the US, right? But guess what? Same is the case with BMW also, whereby even they'll be willing to pay $1.03 to buy €1 because even they are getting a 10% extra margin. So again, Deutsche Bank would increase the price of euro to $1.05. And just like this, when different American branches try to buy euro from German banks, the price of euro would increase to $1.05. So do you see what is happening over here? Quantitative easing increased the purchase power of Americans. This led to increase in American model prices. This created more demand for euros, which led to appreciation of euro against the dollar. So now €1 is equal to $1.05. Now the moment I say this, most people will say, yeah bro, so what? This is great, right? The value of euro is actually increasing against the dollar. So what exactly is the problem? Well, guess what? There is actually a very big problem with other European exporters. For example, if there's a European clothing company called Forever 19 and they are exporting 10,000 t-shirts at €1 each, before quantitative easing, when they were selling 10,000 t-shirts to the US wholesaler, the cost of their product was $10,000. Why? Because €1 was equal to $1. But now, after quantitative easing, the value of euro has appreciated to $1.05. So now, even though their cost in euro is still the same 10,000 euros, when converted to dollars, their product will cost $10,500 in the US. But unlike Volkswagen, which is a branded company, Forever 19 is competing in a commoditized clothing market against other American companies which are selling the same quantity of t-shirts to the same wholesaler at just $10,000. So if you observe this, the export cost of European goods has increased because of currency appreciation. And this makes their products less competitive in the international markets. As a result, if Germany wants to make its exports more competitive, Germany will have to print more money in order to depreciate its currency. And this money printing in Germany again leads to inflation in Germany. These are the two magical ways in which quantitative easing in the US causes inflation in other countries. As a result, the moral of the story is that US can go on printing money to a large extent and still not fall prey to hyperinflation as long as the US dollar is the reserve currency. Why is the US dollar the reserve currency? Well, you can find it in one of our previous episodes, which I'll attach in the description. This is a story of the US printing money and having an unlimited power over the world economy. If this is very clear to you, now you may have a look at the study materials to understand this concept deeper. Meanwhile, people, I have an important announcement to make. We are revamping our Instagram strategy to go all in on Reels and to give you some game-changing business insights on Instagram. So if you would want to get business nuggets on Instagram Reels, please click the link below and follow us on Instagram. That's all from my side today, guys. If you learned something valuable, please make sure to hit the like button in order to make YouTube Baba happy. And for more such insightful business and political case studies, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.